Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Got a lot to get into. We're going to do it with Matthew Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, whose apparently his wedding anniversary is today. I've been told multiple times. So happy anniversary.
20 years.
Happy anniversary. 20 years. That is a long time to be married to someone.
Long time to be married to me.
Your wife is a gem.
She is.
So, yes, she's
20
wonderful.
years and 20 kids, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Jason Buttrill, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program. Yeah, I think that I tell him someone needs to tell him what causes that.
Yeah.
You must not know.
I don't know.
Just happens.
I don't know.
Another kid, hey.
Another immaculate conception.
Yes.
So I want to get into this new Project Veritas video, but I want to first, we played yesterday, we played the Emmanuel Macron grab heard around the world, right? And I posted it, and then people were like, hold on. You're looking at the smack or the assault, whatever you want to call it, to the face. What about that flight attendant with what appears to be, this is what they said. Look, it looks like her shirt, like her outfit is ripped.
No way.
And people are like, it looks like she has a bloody shoulder. And I'm like, holy shit, it does. Watch. No, play it again, Steven. What are you doing?
Play it again.
Play it again, Steven. Play it again, Steven. Okay, so the one with the dark hair right there. What? Look. What is that? What is that?
It does look ripped.
Wow.
What kind of abuse is happening at the hands of Mr. Macron?
Never trust the French.
And I am, of course, talking about Brigitte. What's happening? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
We need answers.
There's something weird with the both of them.
Look at that.
I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
At first I thought it was just one of those like shoulder revealing things, but you can see the top of it. It
Yeah.
looks like it's...
And the other side isn't like that.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
why
like
is
an
it
epaulette,
red?
Is it? It's not like an epaulette.
A what?
You know, as a Marine, an epaulette. It's what they have on the edges of the uniforms, kind of thing.
An epaulette, dummy! What a moron!
You didn't know at all.
Gosh.
You didn't know at all.
Epaulette.
So I'm just saying this scandal is way bigger than just the grab to the face. That that male on male violence that happened. This is a much bigger scandal. I want to know why that flight attendant's shirt is ripped. And I want to know what that is on her shoulder.
I like the French attitude on things like this. I think, I remember, with the Clinton scandal, they were just like, "Oh, what do you mean? This is how it's done, Just blowjobs in bathrooms, in the White House. This is what happens." I don't know. They probably just think this is business as usual at the Macron household.
Well, I mean, it might be. That's what they're like. Oh, it was just a joke.
That's what I said.
It was just a joke.
Trust them. Never trust them. I'm telling you.
There was this article not too long ago about how Macron using his raw masculinity overbears and overpowers people, at the palace or whatever the heck his office is.
I'm sure.
They mentioned how he wears specifically this certain kind of cologne that's they said they can smell him coming like a wing away.
That's kind of disgusting.
But he does it on purpose just because of his raw masculinity. And I'm like, is raw masculinity different? Is it defined differently in Europe? Maybe?
Yeah, clearly.
I don't claim
France. Must be in
I guess.
France. Yeah.
It is called eau de surrender.
I think if you have that much raw masculinity, you don't need to douse yourself in cologne. It's just the masculinity seeps out of your pores, and you would just prefer to just allow that to seep out rather than just throw on cologne. But I don't know. I'm not a dude.
His wife is a very peculiar looking individual.
Oh, yeah, that tends to happen when a dude puts on a wig and pretends to be a woman for decades.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's also weird that she was 40 and seduced him when he was 15. All of this is very weird. I agree. I think it's all very weird.
What is it with progressive women in politics? Now, that is a thing that's universal. That's all over the place.
You're right.
I'm not saying that we have had someone like a Big Mike in the United States. Oh, wait. I mean, crap.
But we did.
Oh, we just did!
We did.
I will say, so when we went to the White House and I got my tour, I was so like,
oh my God, here we go.
I was so awestruck.
Tour.
You know, when the president personally showed me around the White House, which it did happen that way. But I was so awestruck, I could not say a single word, except, and there's like 5 of us there, that's it. The one phrase I got out was with the portrait of Michelle Obama in one of the wings. I said, Big Mike. And that's the only thing I could say. And I was like, crap, did I just say that?
Things that you could say.
There was one individual with us, not the president, that cracked up. And I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. I just kept my mouth shut for the rest of the time.
That is so funny. That is the most Jason Buttrill thing
I know, right?
in my life. So speaking of the White House, we've had a lot of questions since Joe Biden left office, especially since this tell-all book has come out, which Jake Tapper's like, oh my gosh, I think Joe Biden might not have been all with it during his presidency, which we're like, yeah, you think? We just had today an undercover video drop from Project Veritas, and this one was a very interesting one because this was I'll put it this way. It was a male undercover journalist who somehow was able to seduce or otherwise convince David Hogg to talk to him, you know, vice chair of the DNC, David Hogg. And
Assumptions confirmed.
I'm just saying.
I knew it.
The way that these normally go.
It's a honeypot. It's a
honeypot. And so let's play David Hogg talking to this undercover journalist about the Biden White House. Watch.
Yes,
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
off the record, of course.
Just the S's.
Foundational question for me is like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden, well, the president of the United States?
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue was like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at the level. Like, I would avoid him. Like, he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like, Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so, like, I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had at the White House.
So there is a part 2 coming that's attached to this, but maybe we need to start talking to Anthony Bernal. He is a veteran. There he is. He's a veteran staffer of both the Obama and Clinton administrations. He was Biden's deputy campaign manager during the 2024 presidential campaign. And as was reported at the time, he was only one of 4 aides at the Rehoboth Beach House on July 18th when Biden was coerced to withdraw from the election. So very clearly part of the inner circle, part of the very, very big decision for Joe Biden to step down and, or at least, you know, withdraw his name from the 2024 campaign. And just back in July, he was subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee to give testimony on what he knew about Joe Biden's health. This was July of last year. And he thus far has not showed up. So they sent him another letter earlier this month saying, we need you to come testify about what you knew and what you witnessed before, I think it was sometime in July, or else what, I guess is the question, because we need, I mean, Steve Bannon got thrown in jail.
Throw him in jail.
I'm sure he'd say throw him in jail. But so now you have David Hogg accidentally exposing that I guess this guy was making a lot of decisions that he was not voted in to be making. And, you know, they had the book that just came out. The book mentions this guy as well. So
Read that book.
I haven't read it only because I don't want to give Jake Tapper any money.
Yeah. If you can get I agree. If you can get a free one, I would
Yeah.
still read it. They're clearly, I mean, we can make all kinds of jokes about the media on this, so they decided to do it now. They did interview like 200 plus people and talk to some insiders, people that we don't have access to. So there's a lot of good information in it. But not critiquing the media, all that aside, these things were not, you can see this stuff was a secret in the same way Harvey Weinstein was a secret to the rest of Hollywood, which I'm sure you know all about. Everyone knew, everyone kind of joked about it, but they still went along with it. And we're actually doing the show tonight on Glenn's show on this very same thing. And you take all the accounts, Anthony Bernal's one of the people's names that shows up all over the place. This was not a secret. People like Amy Tomasini, Mike Donilon, Steve Ricchetti, most people have never heard of them, but they were the inner circle within and around Biden. The book, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson calls them the Politburo. One aide said that, okay, maybe we acted undemocratically. Holy crap.
What?
It actually says undemocratically. And they actually say, look, all we knew we just had to win. And all we had to do, this is almost a direct quote, let him win. We can pull him out every once in a while to show proof of life. That was the quote.
Oh my God.
We spoke to Ed Martin, Trump's, what is it? He's the pardon lawyer.
Yeah.
He said this might be the biggest scandal in American history.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. And that's why people, I mean, I even had people on my Facebook page when I posted a video about this and they're like, who cares? It's time to move on. I'm like, what do you mean? Who cares? If you had a shadowy, secret coalition of people who were making decisions because the president was a vegetable, like very much everyone should care about that. That is, as Jason just said, that the aide put it, very undemocratic, which coincidentally is one of the Democrats' favorite phrases is democracy and how everything needs to be democratic. We have to have a democracy, which we don't have, but they very much fancy that. And now all of a sudden they're like, it's fine as long as we win.
Yeah.
So we win and then what?
Yeah.
But then we win and then what? Let him last long enough to put Kamala in for the last 2 years?
I mean, even having someone that's somewhat coherent, I think would be a downgrade for what they achieved. What I think they achieved was the first deep state elected cutout president.
Yeah.
That's what they achieved. Yeah. They saw that it could be possible under someone like Woodrow Wilson. Under Woodrow Wilson, there was a time frame when he was incapacitated where 28 bills actually became law, even though he never signed the bill. He didn't put his signature on the bill. He was too incapacitated to even sign it. But at the same time that these laws are becoming laws without the president's signature, he was somehow mysteriously commuting in senses, pardoning people. They were negotiating the Treaty of freaking Versailles at the time. Who was?
Right.
It wasn't the president.
Right.
This is the exact same things that was happening for 4 years. 4 years under Biden. And my issue with Jake Tapper, well, I have many issues with Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, but they state in the foreword to their book that the original sin, the namesake for the book, was that he decided to run again in 2024. I'm like, you're missing the entire angle.
Yep.
The original sin is what they did, these unelected thugs did for 4 years while he was president.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say something different, actually. Is the original sin is that the press didn't cover it properly. That's the original sin. That's the irony of it.
Well, they'll never
because
get into that.
No, they never will. But also, look, I always think in these situations, what you have to do is you have to take some personal responsibility for what happened, because you can't, even if you're in a relationship, you can't tell the other person what to do. The only thing you can do is deal with what is within your control. This is squarely at the feet of the Republicans for not doing anything about it, and the fact that they're still not doing anything about it. And
they're sending sternly worded letters.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's like the old Robin Williams sketch, right? With Gaddafi. Oh, you cross this line, I kill you. You cross this line. They don't do anything about it. It is their responsibility to do something about it, and people need to go to jail. Listen, I sit and I look on social media, and the annoying thing that it just drives me bonkers, because the left gets away with it, is they'll go, Donald Trump, he's losing it. I'm like, you bleepity bleepers. After 4 years of telling us, not just like, oh, he's okay. No, he's the smartest president ever. Look at him. Look at the way he moves. He's so fit. And he walks like Tweaky. Do you remember Tweaky from Buck Rogers? You're probably too young for that. No. You guys know what I'm talking about. Biggie, 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 biggie. That's the way he walks. And they're gaslighting. Now they're gaslighting us again because our stupid, spineless Republican Party like that guy should literally, they should frog march him in there, sit him down and go, you are gonna answer for this because you made decisions that you were not voted in for. And here's the other thing, just say this quickly. How often do we say on the show that Jill Biden was wheeling him out, right? Wheeling him out. So what did they do? They made this guy the chief of her staff. Yeah. Well, that's absolutely perfect. Actually, speak to the person that's controlling him.
Right. I
mean, this is so bad. It is so bad. And like I said, the biggest scandal in history is that the Republican Party isn't getting off their asses and pulling them all in and prosecuting them. This is as bad as it gets, like I say, in a communist country. This is terrible. And how we got away with it, how we got this like little respite from having, Trump coming in. Imagine if he didn't. Imagine if they cheated again. Imagine if Ron Coleman and Harmeet Dillon hadn't got out there and were watching the polls. I mean, this is as bad as it gets.
I don't want to imagine that. That sounds terrible.
But here's the thing, Sarah.
Kamala Harris?
It can happen again.
I know. And that's the point. It's like, what do you mean, who cares? Everyone should care about this. We have to have answers, and people have to be held accountable for this. So I guess we'll see what else they put out on part 2 of this Project Veritas. But just for funsies, let's revisit when we're talking about Jill Biden and how she covered for Joe, and the fact that, my opinion, probably should look into elder abuse at this point, with how she propped him up Weekend at Bernie style.
Remember after that debate where she was like, you did so good, Joe, and you did this.
Like a toddler.
And he's like this.
Yeah.
Standing off.
Thanks, Mom. I wish that we had that one. Let's play Jill Biden on the campaign trail, because she had to make sure that she was touching all things at all times, just in case things went horribly wrong with Joe. Watch.
Joe, you did such a great job. You
here it is. That is it.
Applesauce.
And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do?
I just pooped my pants.
Yes.
I just pooped my pants.
I want to watch that one more time. I want to watch the look on his. You did so great, Joe.
But I'd be married to that.
No, or either of them. No. Let's watch that one more time.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the.
He's like.
And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Yes.
Look at him. He has no idea where he's at. None. You did so great, Joe. Hey, Steven, when have you heard me saying things like that?
Never.
No, to someone in the house, not you.
Oh, my 4-year-old?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the retarded Doberman.
I never tell her that she did great, because she is not. She is very retarded.
She's eating her poop.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. All right, we got to take a break, especially because now I'm having images of my Doberman eating her poop. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Hit the like button. It'll help us in the algorithm. And comment. That'll help us as well. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more. We want to thank our sponsor of this segment, First Liberty. So we have a religious freedom alert for you guys from the experts in defending faith at First Liberty. In California, something crazy just happened. They had a Ventura mom, Taryn Swain. She began to pray during her city council comments, and the mayor shut her down, declaring, quote, "We don't do prayer." Although, it's interesting because at that same meeting, another resident was allowed to communicate through a bird puppet. So bird puppets, great. prayers not okay over there in that city. So this woman was the only person who was stopped from speaking because of what she said. This is textbook religious discrimination, a direct assault on First Amendment rights that protect all Americans. And that is why First Liberty Institute is taking action across the country. They are standing up for Taryn and for religious freedom in communities just like yours. Make sure, just join them. All they're asking you to do is go to firstliberty.org/Sarah to sign the petition and help stop religious discrimination wherever it happens. Guys, this is a petition that you're going to want to sign. It's a no-brainer. It's firstliberty.org/Sarah. Well, over in Seattle, there was a peaceful demonstration of prayer for America's children over the weekend. And there were, as you might expect, Christians that gathered together and decided to pray. And as I was just talking about with First Liberty, well, the radical left does not like that. That very much triggers them. And so Antifa showed up and started, attacking people. Independent reporter Jonathan Cho was attacked. There was another reporter who, the Antifa, there's Katie Davenport. And so, they were very much on high alert, provoking people, showing up to create chaos and incite violence in some instances. She said that she was physically chased by Antifa militants and trans activists outside this pro-Christian rally in Seattle. So that happened. And the Seattle Times, in covering it, decided to cover it like this. It says, the Seattle mayor, Bruce Harrell, said that the Christians were the ones at fault for being assaulted. Yes, it was a far-right rally, you see. It was a far-right rally because they got together and they prayed. And now it's praying is far-right. So Seattle mayor blames, throw that back up there, Stephen. Seattle mayor blames far-right rally after left-wing activists attacked Christian prayer service. Because you're not allowed to do that in the LGBTQ neighborhood. Not allowed to do that. So, Jason, I know we were just talking about this before the break. It was a gay neighborhood, and they're not allowed to do that in gay neighborhoods, I guess, because it disturbs the demons.
Isn't the gay neighborhood called Seattle?
I thought it was
Right.
like the West Coast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The gay neighborhood known as the Western Seaboard of the United States. Yeah. We had this guy on Glenn Radio today, Alex Newman. You know him, journalist. He spent like a ton of years over in South Africa. We were talking to him about, the genocide, what people are calling white genocide with the farmers and everything. And he had a really interesting take on this. And he was talking about how, he was saying it's much even larger than just genocide against based on race over in South Africa. He said they're completely missing the political angle on this. And he was talking about how this is at its core, it's a Marxist communist thing. And he's like, it's spreading all over the world. He goes, you're seeing this on college campuses. We're seeing it, directed. Look at Harvard, look at places like Columbia. And Harvard, they won't even turn over records of foreign students that are causing violence on people like Jews. They won't even turn it over. That's why they're getting their visa restrictions stripped. There are radicals within, our university systems. There are radical. That's probably all of the people that are doing this now in Seattle are probably graduates of some prestigious, college or whatever. Half of them are probably professors as well that all believe in this bull crap. Something is coming. I don't know when it is coming, but these are little signs of the larger explosion that's about to happen. Something is going to happen still. That has not gone away. I truly know. They know how laughable they are right now, how utterly destroyed they were in the last, election, how they completely lost the narrative. I think that just burns them, hotter, and they're going forward with whatever the heck they're gonna. This crap's. I think this came to a head during right in the beginning of the last Trump, presidency. That's when they felt, emblazoned to just really go after it. attacking college campuses, people like Charlie Kirk, when they would speak, or Ben Shapiro. This is not going away, and it's going to get worse, and it's very, very worrying.
It's also asymmetrical warfare, because if you look at what they're doing there, they're all masked up. You can't see who they are. I think that they are the fringe elements, right? I don't think it's the big bulk of people, but, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Mm-hmm. And I think that they are agitators that know that if there's a response, because let's be honest, the majority of conservatives, or let's put it like this, the majority of veterans in this country who have gone to war and who are hard men are conservatives. They could deal with this in a day. Let's just be honest about this. This is taking massive amounts of restraint from the right every single day. And they want a response. It's like what they wanted on January. They want the response. They're going to get it at some point. They're going to get it. And it's not going to be pleasant for them. But make no mistake, you've seen it in the UK. And what they're doing is they're looking, as you rightly said, they're looking at the Palestinian issue. And this is just Marxism, just making strange bedfellows, right? Or maybe not strange bedfellows with these people to push an agenda. If we do not clamp down on this now, it's just going to keep ramping up until there's a massive incident, and then it's going to be another summer of love.
Yeah, and most of the time, there is no justice ever for people that get violent like this. And you look how free they are in those videos. They're just running around, no fear at all. Assaulting people, no fear at all of getting arrested, no fear at all of going to jail. And why should they? They've got people on their side, members of Congress, that are assaulting federal officers at facilities, and nothing seems to ever happen.
But you pray.
Yeah.
You pray and you'll get it.
You're going to pay for that. To your point, Jason, I think we have a video too of Antifa surrounding. So there's a mother with a tiny infant that she's carrying, and Antifa is just surrounding her. She's trying to leave, and they're surrounding her, and they won't let her leave.
Cowards.
It's unbelievable. Let's play that. So to Jason's point, the police are there. She's saying, "Can I please just leave?" They're not really helping her, I would say. People are yelling in the crowd to let her go home. She's just trying to leave safely with her baby, and Antifa doesn't want to let that happen. Look at all the... There they go.
And they should arrest them. If they cover their face, they should arrest them.
They should. What's fascinating to me is the different assortment of colored hair. I saw a neon green, a blue. Every time. So the sad part about this guy being detained right now by the police is that he probably just had all charges dropped over in Seattle. So there's no real lasting effect. But I mean, this is the type of trouble that they're starting with a young mom just trying to leave. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Really unbelievable.
There's a massive crisis of morality in this country. That should outrage everybody. There was a time when, even if you were on the opposite side of this, you would never do something like that.
Right.
Never, ever do something like that.
Right.
And this is where we are. Like you said, Jace, they're like radicals. I mean, these are seriously evil people.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Hey, this is a good time to talk about preborn, actually, because those were demons that you just saw. But what preborn does is for women with, they've got an unplanned pregnancy. They're very scared. They're thinking about doing the unthinkable, which is, of course, terminating their baby. Preborn's network of clinics is going to offer them the actual truth. They're not going to go to Planned Parenthood. Well, if they go to Planned Parenthood, they're going to be told that it's just a clump of cells and don't worry, you'll never regret it. Preborn's network of clinics actually shows them the truth on ultrasound. This is a baby. It is inside of you. It is your baby. Here's the heartbeat. And in that moment, the woman is like twice as likely to choose life. Here's what we're doing the last week of May. This is the last week that we can do it. They still haven't updated the graphic because I want to know where we're at. We're almost there. We're trying to get to 600 ultrasounds sponsored this month. $28. That's all it costs to sponsor one ultrasound that is going to give a baby a chance at life. We are literally saving babies' lives, but we need your help. This is the last week that we are doing this. We're trying to get to 600. We are almost there. I know we can do it. If everyone within the sound of my voice goes to preborn.com/Sarah, $28. That's all that I'm asking you for. One ultrasound. $28. Okay. Preborn.com/Sarah. Help us get to 600 ultrasounds. Preborn.com/Sarah. Well, speaking of the trans nonsense and more depressing news, the Supreme Court has rejected a case involving a 12-year-old student in Massachusetts who wore a T-shirt that said, "There are only two genders." So this child, he was 12, he wore the shirt and he was banned by this public school in Massachusetts in 2023. They said that the message was demeaning and the message could harm other students, especially the trans youth. And the lower courts sided with the school, saying that the ban was a, quote, reasonable restriction on speech in a public school setting. And so basically the lower courts just upheld that. The child was trying to fight that, tried to get SCOTUS to hear it. Alito and Thomas dissented with this rejection, saying that the lower courts were confused about how to balance student rights and student policy. But this is just, man, I don't know. You know, we talk about having the majority in the Supreme Court, and I'm kind of like, do we? Do we? I'm just not so sure that we do. I want to play this student talking to the school board members at a meeting. Watch.
I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with two adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions.
Yeah, you know he did.
What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only two genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do.
All right, that's good. Yeah. So that awkward moment when a 12-year-old has more common sense than any of the adults in the room. Mm-hmm. That's what just happened.
In normal times, that would be like a pro biology class,
right?
Like that'd be like wearing a shirt that said E = MC squared,
right?
Like, yeah,
no
yeah. Duh.
Actual statement, yes, correct. Yeah,
I think, I don't know. I would love to read why the Supreme Court ruled the way they did. I would assume they were probably just going off of, and this is why I hate flawed judicial precedent and case law, because they passed these ridiculous laws way back in the day, and then now every single court after that has to make judgments based off of that flaw, like Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
Like it took forever, all the way from the 70s until to recently, for them to finally say no, that's flawed, law. And I believe, I think it was in the 60s where they made this law, and it sounded ridiculous to me when I was looking into this like 10 years ago. But it said if there was any kind of rhetoric on clothing or something like that could cause a disturbance among the class, then they could not wear that. So immediately what they're doing is empowering the mob. So whatever mob, and the founders warned about this a long time ago, they put it right in the Federalist Papers, we cannot be ruled by mob law. So you can get a mob in schools, which you already have that because they get radicalized. The teachers do at university. They go down and they spread that radicalization down to high school, grade school. You can get them teaching this bullcrap. You've got the kids indoctrinated. You can get them to believe whatever you want to believe. And then you get one lone, incredibly smart 12th grader that pushes back on that. Well, now he is against the mob just for wearing a factual statement on his shirt. It's flawed case law. And I don't know. I really hope the people that are, who are the legal, it must be people we know, right?
That are helping him?
Must have been.
Yeah,
like America First or somebody.
Yeah.
It must be. I hope they pick this up and they go straight at that ridiculous 1960s era law, because I'm sure that's where this is coming from.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
They also need to go after the flags in the school. Like, why is that okay? Why can they put pride flags up in a school?
Because those don't cause a disturbance, because they've already indoctrinated everybody.
That's right.
So you can have that political ideology.
And so if you're sitting, what happens if you're sitting in a biology class, to your point, and they say, there's a male and a female? Is that now hate speech?
Got to change the curriculum. Yep. Can't cause a disturbance, Matthew.
It's a major, it's a major problem. Look, I've said this over and over again. As the dad of 3,000 children, guys, you cannot send your kids to public school anymore. This is just the way it is. There are very, very few places. That's why they are so adamant against school choice. Mm-hmm. Because they want this funnel of indoctrination, and they don't want you pulling those kids out. And this is why we need to actually empower, because this is it's a big worry for religious schools, because what a lot of the religious schools, the good religious schools who don't allow any of the indoctrination in there, they're worried that the government is going to put its sticky fingers in and mess around with what they're doing at that school. So a lot of these religious schools aren't taking the money, which is a problem, because then you're still paying and funding the system, and then you got to pay again, especially if you've got 30,000 kids like me, you got to pay again to send them to a religious school. But all this ends up in Marxism. This is where it all goes. From the schools to the protests to the this to the that. This is where we are. And we're seeing it right. I mean, look, there was a lot of the shadowy stuff going on before, and now they're just emboldened, because with Elon Musk doing Doge, with Trump coming in and trying to cut all this funding, it's literally like putting a cross up to a vampire, and they're like, we've got to do something now, because they know they're actually on the ropes, right? So everyone needs to start pushing back. Everyone that kid though shouldn't be up there on his own. That's the sad thing. He shouldn't be up there on his own.
No, he shouldn't. I mean, I will say it sounds like he has good parents who supported
him, yeah.
right? And
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
I got it.
What would have been better if there were 30 kids from his school standing behind him saying, we support him? Because again, kids don't want to get, for those of you guys that have teenagers, they don't want to be the outcasts. They all want to fit in.
Right.
And that's where the problem arises. You want to have a good peer group pressure that pressures them the right way, not the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And you've got one kid who's now going to be ostracized. And that's what it takes, right? Hopefully it'll get a groundswell. But we really need to start supporting these things and supporting these institutions that are pushing back.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, it's Alliance Defending Freedom is the organization that is helping this family. I mean, you would think that eventually, you're not going to rid the school systems of all of these demons. They have spent decades infiltrating all of these systems. But if you can at least, and this is what I say about the doctors who are participating in these horrible procedures, mutilating children, chopping off perfectly healthy body parts and sterilizing them. It's like, once you have a doctor who is willing to do that, you're not going to change that doctor's mind. But if you can scare them into complying, because if they don't, they will be sued into oblivion for malpractice. They will be they'll have their license removed. I mean, you can put parameters where they are scared that they are not going to have their livelihood anymore if they do said thing. The same thing applies here with President Trump. Like if your schools don't comply, you're not going to get federal funds.
Yeah, just defund them.
Right. And if that's what it takes, like, we're not going to change the hearts and minds of these people. They are actual freaking demons. Yeah. I'm not trying to change their minds. I'm totally fine if they are just so scared that they're going to get caught that they just stop doing it. Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Because the grades, though, the other thing is you can hit them on other things, because they're so involved in indoctrinating the kids in social things that all the grades start dropping as well. And that's why they start saying, well, hang on a second, we've got to drop our standards now. And that's why we're in such a shit show educationally in the country.
Yeah, but they got an A in gender ideology class.
Oh,
So that grade's good.
yeah.
So glass half full, Matt.
That's another issue with just conservatives in general is we're not activists,
Nope.
by nature. And I think a lot of us feel comfortable right now because, we have the Senate, we have the House, historic election, Trump's president. A lot of us are sitting back and like, okay, we did it. Meanwhile, and this is what the left has always done, they're burrowing their ways into, city and, school board, city councils and school boards. They continue to push on with that. Are we doing that? I mean, some people don't have the choice of not going to public school. They just have to, they just have to. Economically, they just have to. Well, if you are in that situation, gather your tribe and push into a lot of these school councils. The only way.
You've got to be involved. You have
to.
But we've said it, how many times have we said this? You have to be involved.
Boy, don't I know it. I was just talking about during the break that next month is going to be the busiest month for me. Why? Because I have to go and get footage of all these disgusting events that nobody else wants to show up at. By the way, if you'd like to help us out, I welcome any sort of donations or involvement over at TexasFamilyProject.com.
Hazmat suits? Lots of hazmat suits?
Lots of hazmat suits. For the love of God, please. Fumigators, all of it. We could use it over at TexasFamilyProject.com. I mean, really just me, okay? I could use it. I have to go into these places and I'm just like, I feel like I need 10 showers and an exorcism every time I leave.
But Sarah, just say, if
Last
you
word,
had
real
50
quick.
people turn up, it would end this.
Yeah.
It would end it. And people just go, you go, Sarah, you go do it. People have to get involved. It's not enough to just sit there and go, you go and do it. People have to get involved.
Yeah, no, by the way, people will send me, I know we got to go to break, Steven. People will send me like these all over the state, sometimes in other states. Oh, it's this happening in Houston. Oh, this is happening in Austin. We need you to go here. We need you to go here. We need you to go here. I'm like, man your own community, guys. I'm only one person. Why don't you go? Why don't you show up? It can't always be Sara Gonzales. Sometimes it needs to be you. So anyway, TexasFamilyProject.com. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back with more, but we want to thank our sponsor this segment, Angel Studios, coming out with all the hits. Their latest is Last Rodeo.
I want to see this so bad. Really good.
Do too. It looks so good. And what you know that you're getting from Angel Studios is woke-free content. So it's not going to be like, oh, the kid is trans. That's so cute. No, they're not going to do that. Especially, look at this. This is a cowboy movie, and you know there ain't going to be any woke nonsense there. This is a retired rodeo legend who decides that he is going to strap back in for one last ride, risking it all to save his grandson. And it's just about, proving that real courage means fighting for people you love. Go get your tickets now. Support these companies that are creating content that you can take your family to go see rather than the Hollywood garbage. Go to angel.com/Sarah. They've got all the show times, so you can get your tickets in wherever your town is over at angel.com/Sarah.
Jeez.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who, can I just say, I think he has been the biggest pleasant surprise within this administration, that I walked into this thinking, I don't know about that Marco Rubio pick. I'm just not sure that he has what it takes. And now I'm like, damn, he's doing like 4 jobs and he's great at all of them right now. Yeah. So particularly as his Secretary of State position, he is kind of dropping the hammer on foreign officials who are threatening Americans' free speech rights. He said on X earlier today, I am announcing a new visa restriction policy that will apply to foreign officials and persons who are complicit in censoring Americans. Free speech is essential to the American way of life, a birthright over which foreign governments have no authority. Foreigners who work to undermine the rights of Americans should not enjoy the privilege of traveling to our country. The days of passive treatment are over. Boop. Mic drop. I guess if he's dropping the mic, it doesn't boop. It's not very manly, is it? Boom! That's what happened. This is just, I mean, it's incredible what they're doing to, I mean, not, with the student visas, they're like, yeah, we're pulling those and we're going to create a new social media vetting policy because we want to make sure that we're not bringing terrorists into our country. And then this is just like, yeah, if you you want to talk your little trash and stuff and you want to censor Americans, you're not welcome here. This is the American dream, baby. And you have to earn it. It's not just for it's fine if it's not for you. It's not for everyone. But you got to earn it. It's a privilege. And I am so here for it.
So great.
I'll let you go first, Matt, being the immigrant.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it is a privilege to come into this country. And for too long, America it's been very weird. It's kind of like they're the big dogs on the block, but for the last 4 years, certainly they've been like lying on their backs, like asking the other countries to come in and like rub their bellies. America absolutely should be doing this. It's the greatest country on the planet. It should have these restrictions and people should respect it. And these little things all add up to a big cohesive whole. And we've said this over and over on the show, Sarah, that with the Doge moves, with all these different things that Trump's doing in concert, it's really impressive. And it's easy for us to forget that because we don't see everything, or we might look and go, why haven't we got the Epstein files, or what's going on here? But they're really, really doing well. And Marco Rubio has been absolutely fantastic from start to finish. I mean, if you look at I'm not going to talk about Bondi. I'm not going to talk but the majority of his picks have been absolutely brilliant and done great jobs.
Yeah, there are some that I'm like, yeah, I need more from you. Marco Rubio is not one of them. And he was the one. I mean, there are some that I expect going in. I was like, oh, he's going to be great. Or Pam, I mean, Pam Bondi, I wasn't ever sold on. Like, oh, he's going to, I mean, Kash Patel, still waiting on a couple things from him, right? I'm still holding out hope that he'll provide.
I think he will.
I'm holding out hope that he'll turn it around. But they were picks that I was like, yeah, he's going to be great. This one was the one that I was like,
But if they're like politician in that role, right? Because you look at people like Kash and they're more dynamic, right? Or you'd think they're going to be dynamic. And certainly what they said, they were very MAGA. And Rubio was kind of, is he going to just like get his way through it? Is it ticking the box for the resume?
Right.
He's going to have a presidential run at some point, but he's killed it.
And now, well, he did have a presidential run and it didn't go well for him.
Marco.
But I mean, he's going in front of Congress and they're like, so are you just going to start revoking visas of people who, students who don't share American values? He's like, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do that. Expect it.
I love how that's considered controversial.
I know. Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Like they can't even, like, the journalists, the other like far left members of Congress or whoever, they just can't fathom it. They're like, wait a minute. All they're doing is tearing shit up and and destroying the country.
Forcing the law.
You're gonna kick them out? Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? This is like very, very basic. It's nice to see the United States wield some actual power. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got it, guys. You might as well wield it while you have it. And stop being a laughing stock.
It makes for a stable world when America does that. Yeah. When you clarify these lines, everyone. Well, you're seeing it right now, right? No new wars. We're hoping that these two wars are going to come to an end. America needs to wield that power. It needs to, and actually, the world wants it to. That's the truth. That's the dirty little secret they don't want to tell you.
Yeah. All right, Matthew Marsden. Make sure to follow him on YouTube. Matthew D. Marsden. Jason Buttrill. Thank you, guys.